Were you implicated by something from the podcast and you got in trouble for it?
No.
All right. Because I need to talk about my political connects this week.
What?
I don't want to offend any of my political connects, so I might have to, scale back a little bit.
Oh, okay.
JP's going to complain to the debate organizers about the length of time.
I was going to say, have there been complaints? Wow.
Damn. Not about time, it's more about content. Like, wait, you did? No, I didn't do that. But it said, no, that was my voice, but what I was doing was I was vicariously living through maybe someone else at the time that I was speaking such things.
You're getting hate?
We might call it that.
Wow.
A little bit of backlash.
Hey, I guess any reaction is good reaction.
Yeah.
Right?
I wasn't checking the comment section.
Yeah. I should start looking at that.
Wait, there's a comment section?
You set it up, Dan.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
Wow.
And welcome inside the bullpen for episode 4. All the usual suspects in the bullpen today. This is the Bullpen Podcast. We've got Brobes, Evan, JP, and Dan. Ready to wrap sports with you for a little while here. Let's jump right into our top story. Also, peep the ranks this week. The college football playoff rankings have been released. Controversy. Our top 4, Clemson at 8-0, LSU at number 2, 7-0, Ohio State at number 3 at 8-0, and Alabama sneaking in at number 4 at 7-1. Gentlemen, your initial takeaways for the first ranking here.
Well, I said it immediately during the show, and Brandon jumped out and said, "What? Come on, it's not that big of a deal." TCU 8? Like, you got to be kidding me. I think, once again, this committee doesn't give a damn about the Big 12, but they still got a big month in November to really prove their worth.
Well, that's because I don't give a damn about the Big 12.
Ouch.
And here's why. I did some research. You want to know why those 4 teams are the top 4? Defense. I've got stats to back it up, too. All 4 of those teams are in the top 19 in yards allowed per game. And outside of LSU, who's 40th in points per game, the other 3 are in the top 19 as well. Whereas Baylor comes in at 56 and 59 respectively. TCU 60 and tied for 53rd. They don't play defense.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch, a game like Oklahoma State and Texas Tech where they're scoring 110 points combined, but I don't want to see that in a semifinal or a final. Like, I want to see good, hard-nosed. Like, that's why I love the SEC. Everybody hates the SEC so much, but I love watching the SEC when it's two good defensive teams going at it, when it's like 19-13.
Yeah,
those games are fun to watch to me.
I don't have a problem with the top 4. I just thought TCU should have been higher, considering they've dominated most of their opponents. Haven't lost yet. I think if you haven't lost, you should be higher. But JP, you're the college guy.
I have a more capitalistic look at these things. I think the first factor is money. The second factor would be voter bias. And the last factor, this is the prelude to an 18 playoff in, the next 2 years, because you left Memphis off. Shout out Pat Forty. And the fact that starting out, granted, this is the first poll and there's still a lot of football left, you have Notre Dame over Baylor, Michigan State, and TCU, and Iowa, one time for Andy Behrens, who are still all undefeated. I understand strength of schedule, but how do you get how does Notre Dame get 5 when Baylor, Michigan State, TCU, and Iowa?
Well, like you said, it's brand recognition.
Notre Dame's only loss was to who? The number 1,
Clemson.
Right.
At Clemson. So,
but Bama is at 4, and Memphis beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss beat Bama. So how is Bama so high?
So you do that, route? You go that route?
They didn't. Stanford's in front of Stanford and Utah.
I test the last few weeks. Bama's played better, just as good as anybody in the country.
I mean, Ohio State's at 3, and they don't really pass the eye test. They just win.
But I'm just saying. I'm saying for Bama specifically, Bama's looked like one of the best teams in the country ever since that Ole Miss loss.
We'll have to revisit this later.
Oh no! I agree.
I'm not really bugging off of the position. It's just the numbers just don't make sense. Like, yeah, Memphis isn't the toughest team or the highest team, but you're going to put Utah and Stanford and one-loss Florida in front of Memphis. Like, I mean, how are they justifying these things?
No, I mean, they've said, I heard one explanation on TV this morning saying that basically they always have the proper excuse for the question being asked to them, even if it contradicts what they said to the question before that. I mean, that's just what this committee does in terms of picking their rankings and how they do things. I get it. You want to sell tickets. You want to sell television rights to people to watch the games. You know what? There's always going to be something to complain about with these rankings. I think we just all obviously probably agree with that.
Well, that's my next point is that these are the first rankings. We still have, four, we have, 4 games, 4 or 5 games left?
Yeah.
Weeks left? Why? I mean, everybody making a huge stink about it right now.
LSU plays Bama on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and TCU and Baylor have to play
at
each other.
The last game of the season, which is the Big 12 championship game. If anybody cares that they don't have a
Michigan
road
State
game.
will probably have to will plays Ohio State. So it's going to sort itself out a little bit, and you're still going to have teams that are 5 and 6 that are going to be complaining, like when you say this is a prelude to the 8-game playoff. Guess what? Like if this was an 8-game playoff right now, you'd still have Iowa and Florida who could still make claims to be in that top 8. It doesn't matter how big you make the playoff, you're still going to have people complaining about it in the end. Like that's always going to happen. Even when you have the NCAA basketball tournament and there's 64 teams or 68 teams now, you still have people that are upset as to why they're not in.
And they need to show us the ballots. They need to show us the requirements so that we can hold these quote-unquote voters accountable for what they're actually doing. Because they should be required to have it make sense to us.
Well,
it makes sense
the ballots
to them.
should be like, or if there are ballots or however they do it, you should see it out in the open.
It needs to be public.
Yeah.
Well, Evan, to your point about TCU, is there any reason that TCU shouldn't be ranked above Baylor?
They shouldn't be ranked above Baylor?
I mean, they
are.
They should be. Do you think that they should be ranked above Baylor? Because CBS Sports' Jerry Paul made a point that Baylor's strength of schedule is just above Houston, who is also undefeated but ranked 25th in these rankings. So they're highly overrated, and they'll drop as soon as they lose a game without their quarterback.
I mean, they're literally penalizing Baylor for finishing off the majority of their football games before halftime. Like, I understand the strength of schedule is the biggest deal, but, I mean, they win, their average margin of victory is over 3 scores. I mean, that should count for something. That should still count.
They've got like the 100th easiest schedule in the country.
But if we're watching the full games, like, even the backups are blowing people out, so it's just not, all right, we're running a cakewalk. Like, my redshirt freshmen are coming in and scoring multiple tugs.
So does it come down to TCU Baylor for that last spot, or does the Big 12 get shafted here?
It did last year.
Yeah, I could very well see them getting chapped again because they don't have a conference championship game again. They don't have that extra bonus game to make a statement in that last week, which we see always seems to make a difference.
Correct.
It's funny that their conference slogan is one true champion, but they finished in a tie.
Don't have a championship game, so
yeah.
The Big 12 just shoots itself in the foot without changing.
That makes 0 sense.
So we'll see what happens next week when the next ranking comes out. Of course, that LSU-Alabama game will make a huge difference.
Well, there's three big games this weekend.
Because Florida State still plays Clemson, so that's not a cakewalk, especially at 12.5.
12.5. It's a huge line. We'll get to that a little bit later. The NFL season, halfway through, guys. We're halfway through the NFL season. Guys, it seemed like it flew by this year already.
Every year, like, you get excited in the offseason. Like, March comes around, free agency, the draft hits.
I don't.
Camps. Okay, most people outside of JP. But then, like, as soon as the season hits, it's like bang, 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 bang. You're right. It's gone so fast.
Well, I mean, here we are.
Slow down.
Halfway through the season, not a lot has been decided. Some divisions are closer than others. Some of them are terrible. Let's get everybody's midseason impressions so far. Have you want to start?
Yeah, I think it's got to be the dysfunction in Indianapolis. I mean, this was easily,
huge surprise
for a lot of people, a Super Bowl favorite, Andrew Luck MVP. Even though they signed some older pieces and Frank Gore and Andre Johnson, a lot of people thought there'd be some complementary parts that would fit in and make these guys Super Bowl contenders, and they've just looked terrible. 3-5 to start, but still first in
place,
the AFC South.
It's got to be the weakest division in the NFL.
Oh, without a doubt. I think that's easily still. The Titans are 1-6, and they're still in the title chase.
Yeah,
just 2 games out.
I think that's the biggest impression with me so far.
Probes?
Your top 5 leading rushers heading into Week 9. These are some of these names you might have thought would be in there, but you would not have thought to see Devontae Freeman, Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, especially like with all of his situation and everything coming off last year, and the rough offensive line. Doug Martin and Todd Gurley are your top 5 leading rushers in the NFL. which is pretty amazing. You thought it was going to be like Murray, McCoy, all these, Le'Veon Bell.
Not the injury-prone guys, minus Le'Veon.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, you figured it was going to, well, Murray was the NFL's leading rusher last year.
And you knew that spray tan would never
I
do that
know,
again.
but still, you figured he was at least going to get his to some degree. But Devontae Freeman, Chris Johnson wasn't even on a roster. He signed with the Cardinals in week 1, week 2?
After getting shot.
Yeah. Yeah, he got shot.
He still has the fragments in his arm because they're not able to remove it because it might mess him up.
That's crazy.
This is like 2008 with him and Peterson all over again. Like they're
CJ2K.
Yeah, and
JP.
Doug Martin.
JP, what you got?
I'm more surprised with Peyton Manning and how he has been ineffective but effective, and his team is still undefeated. Yeah. He at one point had more interceptions than touchdowns, but his team is thriving. That defense is definitely holding them together. A week ago, his brother threw for 6 touchdowns and Peyton threw for none, and his brother lost and Peyton still won. So I'm impressed with the Broncos at this point because they're strong.
I think
defense.
To that point, exactly, Dan. It
That
kind of stands to
defense.
the impressive defensive performances and how that's carried teams. Like in recent years, have been so much about the offense and how many points you score.
Panthers.
But exactly, Denver,
Yeah.
Carolina are two teams who have shown with their defenses you can have average quarterback play.
And to a certain
be
degree,
elite in
New
the NFL.
England's too.
Yeah.
New England's defense has been fantastic.
Everyone mimicking that 2000 Ravens squad just got to front your quarterback 17-plus points.
Yeah.
Should be good to go.
Well, for me, it goes right to what you're saying, Evan, about the Panthers. I'm just wondering when they're actually going to falter. But if you look at their schedule going forward, they have the big game this week against the Packers. But, I mean, don't forget, this was a playoff team last year. They were sub 500, but they were a playoff team.
It was like the Colts last year. That NFC South was horrendous last year.
And shout out to Cam Newton for doing the most with the least on that offense.
Yeah.
MVP candidate Cam Newton.
But if you look ahead, after this, they've got 2 meetings with the Falcons. But other than that, they're not playing a 500 team.
Yeah, they're playing, I think, the NFC East, the
East,
only
who's terrible.
team they've got to play, or they've playing Washington, the Giants, and I think the Cowboys is the ones in that division they have left, and those are easily winnable games.
I mean, this team could,
Romo in December, please.
I mean, even if they lost both games to the Falcons, which they probably will split that, let's just say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 13-3 team. We're 14-2 team.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing.
Which makes this game against the Packers this weekend even bigger.
Huge.
Because if they can win, that gives them 2 games in hand with an easy schedule on the stretch. That gives them the home field advantage lead.
One more thing, the Raiders, the Jets, and the Vikings all right now would be playoff teams.
Yeah.
There you go. That's something for you. Yeah. All right, well, we're halfway through the season. One season.
God, I hate Daniel Snyder. Sorry.
Well, we are halfway through that season, but one season that did end this week, the World Series, culminating in Game 5 as the Kansas City Royals win their first championship in 3 decades. That gives me a question. Quickly,
Slow clap.
while we're here, let's make our way too early predictions for the 2016 World Series. I will give you this. According to Bovada, Vegas has the Chicago Cubs favored to win the 2016 World Series. Next up, the Royals, again, the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Cardinals. Anybody have any picks here?
Give me the Cubs. They're going to sign David Price.
Yeah, I just took it out of my mouth.
Sorry.
I think there's one other team that I would throw in there. I like Dusty Baker in Washington.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go
that.
with the Stros.
No.
I agree with that.
You like the Expos? 'Cause
I
I like the Orioles still.
No.
Expos.
The reason I don't like the Nats is that half of his starting rotation is going to end up needing Tommy John surgery
That's
by
true.
the end of next year.
Yeah, that's the concern, obviously, for them is staying healthy and making sure Bryce Harper doesn't punch out Jonathan Papelbon.
Well, just get rid of Jonathan Papelbon.
Yeah, but actually the Astros,
I think the
I'll take
Astros
that
would
card
be
from you, too.
Yeah, that would be the other one.
I like that.
Yeah.
Buck Showalter is going to turn around the Orioles. The Royals took the win out of our sails 2 years ago, but we'll get it back. It's all good.
All right, well, we got a ways to go until baseball season
Yeah, Dan, don't
kicks
rush
off
it.
again.
Don't rush
Why
it.
not, though? I mean, it just ended this week. There was some social buzz about something that went on after the big win, though. JP, you got to fill us in on that?
So the Royals had a parade
Yes,
in
they did.
Kansas City.
Yes, they did.
That's usually what champions do.
I feel like they should have shut the entire city down because what do people really do in Kansas City?
Well, didn't they shut the city down anyway?
They did. It was, 430,000, 440,000 is the population, and it was like more than 800,000 people in the parade.
Showed up. So
For the parade.
we should have just shut it down. So much that people were parking their vehicles on expressways in public parks and walking to the parade destination or destinations, which is kind of unheard of.
So, like, hardcore fan or dangerous human beings?
Well, are they parking in the breakdown lanes? Or are they parking in the middle?
No,
Okay,
they're
you're
all-
showing me a
they're
picture.
all on the expressway.
Now, is that a scene from the parade or is that a scene from Walking Dead?
That's exactly what the caption says on that photo, actually.
Right, yeah.
This is a shot of an on-ramp, and literally it's 3 lanes off, and literally across all 3 lanes are cars filling up the entire off-ramp.
Everyone parked and walked.
Yeah. No, that's a little dangerous.
But it's got to be a lot harder in we'll say a smaller city than like San Francisco, where they have all the transit. And they can bring 1.5 million people down to Market. I mean, it was packed last year. Don't get me wrong, but
Grassy knolls off of the side of the highway have cars
See,
parked
that
there
makes
as well.
sense. Like, I can understand that. At least you're not in the street. Like,
Well, I'm sure that filled up quickly, and that's when
because
people went
you know
to
what? There are probably some Cardinals fans that live in that area, and they probably wanted to go to work or wherever, and they probably couldn't get to
They
it.
must have been the most bitter people
They
in
were
the world
probably
that day.
so bitter, yeah, because they lose to the Cubs in the playoffs, and then you watch the opposite team win. But at the same time, I don't really feel bad for Cardinals fans because they've been one of the best teams in baseball for the last
But they
decade.
probably are still bitter about losing that 85 World Series
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
to the Royals.
yeah.
right.
All right, Brobes, you had another social moment from this week. What did you find for us?
I saw somebody retweet this, and it was a video of Steph Curry and his wife lip syncing like a line, and I didn't know what the movie was from, but Dan like leaned over.
Oh, yeah.
And because Dan has a small child who enjoys the movie Frozen,
That's not the reason.
He knew exactly where it was
Dan
from.
loves Frozen.
And I just thought, and the caption above it said something along the lines of like, I can't believe these people let this guy go off for 40 on a nightly basis on him, something along the lines of like that, because he's the best player in the NBA, and here he is, he's just showing his personality.
But think about it. If you are an NBA basketball player, a guard at that,
Yeah.
and you see Steph sing, this is what he does in his free time, is
Yeah,
sing
exactly.
Frozen, and he
And
goes
he's,
on the
like,
court and
into
cooks
it.
you?
And then he just,
into it.
yeah. Oh no, he was really into it.
They both
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally just trying to top Riley and failing, but still.
Yeah.
should-
That would have been better.
Yeah,
if they would have
put
had
Riley in
Riley
it.
in there. Oh my
Absolutely.
God. Done.
But yeah, getting cooked by a guy who knows Frozen lyrics doesn't bode well in the locker
Right,
room.
yeah.
Can you
That does
imagine?
nothing. Like when he goes off for 45 tonight against the Clippers, like Chris Paul's just going to be like, I got to start watching me some Disney movies.
Yeah, Chris Paul, you better not be on skates when we revisit this next week.
It doesn't matter if it's Frozen or not. Chris Paul's on skates against Steph Curry.
He's Chris Paul, man. Clap back. Defend yourself. I mean, you're a part of Team Jordan. You're endorsed. I mean, come on, man. Don't hang us out to dry like that. At least give some effort. Slide your feet. Read your cues. I'm out of options. He's gonna get,
I'm out of options.
man. Chris Paul gonna get barbecued.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, man. All right, let's move on to one of our favorite segments here on the podcast.
I know this is the one I get the most,
JP.
hype about.
We got a little dating advice, and I'm not going to pretend to know anything about this story.
Yeah,
In
me
one
either.
word, Evan, if you want to help jump in because you know the story well too.
This isn't dating.
Zola.
This
Evan
isn't
actually
dating,
tried
though.
to explain it to me earlier, and I
didn't
was
get
just
it.
like, yeah, I'm not following.
I don't even understand it. That JP, I'm assuming you understand more
No,
deeply than
want
I did.
I want Evan to go first, and then I'll chime in because this is going to be great coming from his perspective.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cue the slow jam.
All
Go
right.
on.
So, all I really got to say is the name Zola. And if you're hearing this, you probably know what I'm referring to. It's this story that apparently blew up on Twitter last couple weeks regarding this girl who used an Instagram handle named Zola, but her name, my internet's not working.
Isaiah
It's
King.
Isaiah King is her name. Basically, she wanted to make some money stripping. Had a guy friend involved, and then the guy friend knew another girl, so Zola and the other girl are going to start stripping. They're going to go to Florida to make more money doing it, yada, yada. This guy basically acted as her pimp to get her down there. Said, oh, you're going to make $30,000 in a night, whatever. Whoa. They started dancing, realizing they actually weren't making that much money. Whole circle drags on, eventually ends up, I'm reading the full story today, ends up in Nevada, and it's just crazy. Then
Was
it involves
Lamar Odom
the
involved?
guy friend was going to like
Jesus.
kill himself, and I mean, it's just like crazy. Anyway, again, I don't know it
Evan
probably
did
as well.
The chick's from Detroit. She works at Hooters. She's also
Enough said.
an exotic dancer.
right.
She had a customer come in who was Jess in the story. turns out that Jess is Jess in real life. Jess was with her partner who said, we dance, and she was like, come with me to Florida. And then Zola said, I just made 15 racks. For you guys that don't understand the lingo, 15 racks will be $15,000.
Looks like it looks right at me.
No. Hey, that actually helped me too.
Yeah.
So she made 15 racks. So she was
They
like,
don't get us, JP.
It's all good. So she said, I made 15 racks. Let's go back down there. So they go to Florida together. They'd start dancing at one club the first night. And Jess, which is the white homegirl, doesn't make any money, but Zola made out. So then they went to the trap. For those who don't understand, the trap is when you kind of set up a session for adult hanky-panky.
Shenanigans. Also, thank you for clarifying.
All right.
Yeah,
So now where are we
in
going?
the middle of all the ghetto Kama Sutring, Jess had brought her boyfriend, Jarrett. And this cat, Jarrett, is a complete nutcase. When he found out that Jess had been on the road getting her stats up, he started punching himself in the face. He started screaming that he wanted to go home. Like, the story is amazing. Like, the story is just great. One of the best parts, the highlights of the story, is that Jarrett, at one point, attempts to kill himself. And in his feeble attempt to kill himself, I know suicide's not funny, but the way he did it is hilarious. They were at a hotel, and he was like, if you don't come back home with me, I'm going to kill myself. And she was like, all right, well, I'm getting this money, so I'm not shaking. So he runs out and jumps over the balcony, but his pants get stuck. So he's just hanging from the balcony by his jeans.
So again, the whole thing about this whole story, though, too, is that that's what supposedly she tells the story what's happened. But then this isn't apparently what actually happened. There's like dispute about, did he actually try to jump off? Did his pants get caught? Did he just say he was going to do it and then he didn't do it? And now all these people started following the story on Twitter and started a GoFundMe to turn this into a movie and get it produced.
You were watching on HBO. It will work on.
This sounds like a Lifetime
Netflix.
movie.
But like, there's a pimp
Yeah.
who had to get him off the balcony after he tried to kill himself. But the gnarly part is that the characters are real. Like, everybody who is quote unquote in the story is an authentic person. She used real names. Like, they have Twitters, they have Facebooks that may have been deleted now or before.
Well, just because they have online profiles doesn't mean they're real people.
That's true.
I watch enough Catfish to know.
Yeah.
No, but people, this, like, the content of the story is the issue. Like, the Jess chick
Right.
is saying it didn't happen in this order, but some of this did happen. It's like, well, wait, are you embellishing what you actually did? And the Jared guy's like, well, half of this and this isn't true. I mean, I thought it was a great piece of work. There was character development. There were plot twists. There was great tone.
I feel like we just lost JP to the set of this movie.
The cast was racially diverse. And it also passed the Bechdel test. If you don't know what the Bechdel test is, that's when a work of fiction features at least two women who talk about more than just a man. So look, man, it was deep. Like, they did well. Zola did well.
Great story.
The tweets are not suitable for work or podcasts or anywhere.
But
Like,
maybe we'll drop a
is-
link so you can see it, because you guys got to read it. I mean, you have to read it.
Yeah, this is...
I got a link. Dan, you can post a link. You can see all 128 tweets in full. People were Zola for Halloween. All they did was put the tweets on a cardboard and walked around talking about trick or treat.
Oh, man. All right. Well, if you've listened to the podcast before, we've discussed Ronda Rousey, and I thought, JP, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on some of her dating advice as well. This was an interview she did with Maxim. She took some reader questions about things that she would prefer in her life. So first one was, what's the best thing to wear on a first date? Let's get JP's reaction. We'll sit with Rhonda's.
I mean, we'll tell the listeners, this is a male asking her these questions.
Yes.
They're all males. It kind of would have been cool to have a chick ask her a question, but that's a different conversation. But her reply is, don't wear skinny jeans. Not a fan. If your jeans are so tight that you have to stand up to put something in your pocket, they're too skinny.
Your thoughts?
Like, okay, next.
All right.
JP's walking out on that one.
You spent a lot of time in Southern California. The sexiest date a guy can plan, Rhonda says, a pickup truck took me out to Malibu Mountains in L.A. That's the perfect date. Is that where you take her?
Like, there's she sounds so dense. Like, I want to hang out in the back of a pickup truck and drink beers. Like that, there's nothing sexy about that. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I would never take a woman on a date, quote unquote date, in the back of a pickup truck. Like, I mean, what does that sound like? That sounds like some backwoods type, down south. Like, it sounds like she's from Texas or something.
It does not sound like a girl who went to high school in Santa Monica.
Right? Like, you wouldn't want to take her home to your mom. Like, she'd want to shotgun beers with your mother.
She'd probably put your mom in an arm bar.
Right here at the end.
Even worse.
Brobes, you'll appreciate this. As far as the best present, if a guy showed up at my door with buffalo wings and cider beer, that'd be it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get in your pickup.
All the wings.
Sounds like my fiance.
All the wings.
Hey, on Jumpman, Future said chicken wings and fries, we don't go on dates. So she actually might be on to something with that one. So she gets half a point.
All right, next up, the one essential meal every guy should know how to make. She says pancakes.
I mean, pancakes is cool. I would have went with French toast or maybe some waffles. I mean, but it's difficult to mess up pancakes. I mean, I feel like she's kind of...
I could do it. I could mess up pancakes.
Oh, yes.
Wait,
I could burn those things.
Man, don't tell people that.
Oh, no. My
I'm
girlfriend
married. I'm
already
good.
knows I'm not a good cook.
Well, yeah,
so,
Dan is 2 for 2, so he's shooting 100.
Yeah.
All right. Well, A+ is a chef, so nobody trip. That one's fine too. So she's at another half a point, so that's 1 point.
All right, last one. One thing a guy should never do in the bedroom. And she said, if my teeth are repeatedly hitting your teeth, there's a problem with what you're doing.
How old is Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, exactly what I was just saying.
I mean, like, wait, what? We're worried about teeth touching teeth?
That's junior high stuff.
Like, I remember my first kiss.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Jeez. And this is the woman who you listeners, viewers, men and women also are enamored with. Like, there's nothing appealing to her on paper.
Let's move on to another one of our favorite segments here in the show. It's This Actually Happened, featuring the always entertaining Tom Brokaw. Tom's here to introduce our first story. Tom?
Warriors owner Joe Lacob admits he slept with the NBA championship trophy and says, leave it to the imagination in terms of what happened in the bedroom.
I was really hoping you'd use boudoir.
In the boudoir.
Wait, so he's trying to say that
He said we had a lot of fun with it. Some of the Larry O'Brien trophy. This thing's what? Couple feet high? The big gold statue with the basketball on top of it? What the hell are you going to do with that in the bedroom?
Yeah, Joe Lacob, you're disgusting.
I just can't believe he said use your imagination or leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, why would you insinuate
what an
that?
entendre.
Because
Why?
if you leave it to
why would
my
you insinuate that?
imagination, they probably just sat in the bed with bowls of ice cream and watched Love Actually.
Because it's not like the Stanley Cup where like you could put ice cream in the top of it and eat out of it.
True.
You know,
Beer.
there's a bowl or the claret jug in golf. You drink out of it. Like there's nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Yeah, he should try to get that retracted or something. A la the 49ers tweeting that nonsense and then having the Atlanta Falcons retweet it with the O.
Dude, that was beautiful. That apparently they wanted to play Blaine Gabbert last week in St. Louis, have him replace Colin Kaepernick, but the Niners wanted to put Gabbert at home against a weaker Falcons defense.
Against a lesser defensive opponent.
Yeah. So the Falcons Twitter account sees that and just quotes the tweet and says, "Oh."
So
Blaine
Gabbert's
Gabbert
going to be
about to
better than
die.
terrible on Sunday?
No, I think
Because he's playing Atlanta versus St. Louis?
it gives the Falcons more motivation to go out and just rip them.
Pretty much.
And they just hired a pretty good defensive guy as their coach this year.
His name is Quinn?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Staying on the Niners, I feel like we need to address Jed York having less than zero manners. How do you bench your franchise quarterback a day before his 28th birthday? Like, what kind of a human does that?
Would you rather him bench him after
Yes.
his 28th birthday? The
Yes.
day after?
I mean, why would you do it before my birthday? The night before my birthday? Like,
He
hey,
doesn't care about
you're
his birthday.
You're not playing
Yeah.
anymore.
It's all business.
They didn't care about him when they signed him to that deal that they could cut him after any season for over the next
clearly.
decade.
The only thing I'll say is that they do that. Probably they did it on Monday, right? And that was so
Right.
they
You
could
gotta
get
do it on a
first team
Monday,
reps all
yeah.
year. Because if
So
you show up to practice on Tuesday and Gabbert's taking first team reps, people are going to know that.
I mean, we got two Niner fans here, so I mean, are we calling for Jed York and Trent Baalke's head, or what are we doing moving forward? Are we putting him in the Dan Snyder conversation as the worst of the worst?
He's definitely easily got into the top 5 worst owners in the NFL very quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
I mean, it's turned very. I mean, then again, too, you look even before the Harbaugh era when the Yorks had taken over, there was a lot of hatred then already towards them. But I think the Harbaugh success kind of clouded that and let people forget about maybe how the front office was actually operating. But now that they're losing again, people are going, "Oh yeah, you guys actually really aren't that great at your jobs."
They could have drafted a quarterback on multiple drafts and chose not to. That's interesting.
Well, I think Andy Dalton was the pick after Kaepernick.
That is correct.
Right? Russell Wilson was a third-round pick. They could have had him. You know, I mean,
I don't think Russell Wilson would have succeeded here under that regime.
No.
Regardless.
No.
So.
I agree with you. I mean, it's a little bit, obviously, of Kaepernick regressing, but it's a lot to do with very dysfunctional front office, locker room, coaching staff, all that.
So how long did they give Tom Sula? He's only 7 games in.
I feel like he's the extension of Trent Baalke. So
Well, yeah,
he just does what he's told.
Yeah, he's got as long of a leash as he wants, as long as he keeps saying yes, sir.
Yeah, as long as ownership is the same, he's probably not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's dysfunction.
Who's worse, San Jose State or... Oh, never mind. I'm sorry, Dan.
Wow.
I apologize.
I appreciate that. Let's move on to something new we're going to try this week. A segment called Random Shots. I don't know if any of you guys heard this, but earlier this week...
We're taking shots?
We should.
We just took shots at the Niners, but...
The World Health Organization announced this week that hot dogs cause cancer. So I thought it'd be interesting. I found an article, Kobayashi.
You know what else causes cancer?
Breathing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Your cell phone in your pocket, standing too close to the microwave, picking your nose with your left hand, tying your shoe with your mouth open.
And that's where I was going with this. A reporter asked Kobayashi, who won the Nathan hot dog eating contest 6 times in a row, he said, how do you feel about that? He says, well, they've declared a lot of things dangerous, so what isn't dangerous for you?
Right.
And so, anyway, on that note, I thought it would be interesting, now that hot dogs are off the table, to find out if you guys had to do a eating contest, eating challenge, or competitive eating, what food would you choose?
Ooh.
I would definitely choose yams.
Yams?
I would fully eat yams.
That is obscure.
I would eat yams until...
Well, you're talking about this week.
Yeah, I'll eat yams until I pass out, literally and figuratively.
I just think that'd be so heavy.
That's fine. This is a competition, and I want to win, so I'm going to pick what I love.
That's great.
I'm going to let Evan go last because he's got a story, but I'd probably go with boneless wings. Or just wings in general, yeah. I mean, I know...
Go mild sauce, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be bad.
Can you imagine the habanero?
Oh.
Get through about 2 of those?
No, thank you.
If Evan's going to go last, I have to say pizza. Like, I can put pizza on
that
Sundays
came in
here.
Second for me.
I could put pizza away. I could keep going. I mean, I will feel terrible later, but I could keep going.
He's
That would be
trying
my
to tell
thing.
you to order more pizzas on Sundays.
No. Don't do that.
It's got to be specific, so I know it's not Chicago deep dish pizza.
No.
It's a Round Table, Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's.
And what kind?
That's a completely
pizza.
different conversation
That's
if we're
true.
talking pizza chains.
Actually, probably the easiest one would be like New York thin crust, like really, really thin crust.
It's your competition, so you
cheese.
tell us.
That's where I'd go first. But I could do Round Table too, because that's pretty good. Ev?
Well, not so much like what would I do. Actually, answer to that would probably be I'd do sushi. You do little tuna rolls. I can nail those down all day. But when I saw this, that we
I
were
think
going
the guy who chose yams made like a
Shudders.
disgusted face.
Yeah.
I mean, yams are sweet. They're carbs. I mean, sushi is like all salty. I need my fish filleted.
Oh, see, I like salty food. That's just me. But I've done a hot dog eating competition. And I did it on TV for TV.
You beat Kobayashi?
I didn't beat Kobayashi. So when I worked at a TV station up in Washington, it was 4th of July. So Nathan's hot dog eating contest was the big event of the day, sports wise, really.
Adam's famous.
Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
So the sports director I work with and I said, well, let's do a hot dog eating contest. And basically, I don't know why we did it this way, but for the 6 p.m. news, we basically decided, well, Evan will just eat a bunch of hot dogs and see how many he can eat in like 4 minutes. Because we had basically like a 5-minute sports block and that's it. So we did a quick thing on the Nathans and then it was me eating as many hot dogs as I could for 4 minutes.
What technique did you pick?
Did you dunk the buns?
I did dunk the buns, and that was the weirdest thing, man. Oh, it was because it gets all soft and mushy.
Did you Google Kobayashi and any of his techniques? Because he has 3 of that are very effective.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
The split in half, the dogs first, then the bread later.
I just took the whole thing, dog and bun. Dunked it in.
Excellent.
Oh man!
Wow.
So in that run again, it was about 4 minutes. minutes, I did like 5.5.
That's still a lot of hot
So
dogs,
then we
dude.
still had the 11 o'clock news, and it was like, well, we got another block to kill. Let's do it again. So this time I went head to head with the sports director and the news anchor. She like moderated it or whatever, officiated it. And of course, at that point, I didn't feel full, but I'm, not able to go at it as
He's
well
got
as
the
I would
Rocky
like.
theme song playing in his head.
Were you sweating?
After you already had 5 earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you.
So we did about 5 minutes on that one, and I think I did 4.5 on that one too. So basically, I had 10 hot dogs.
But did you win?
No, I lost that second time because I was going so much slower because I, had eaten so much earlier. I just was not feeling up for doing it all over again. So
What did the
I
director
lost.
get? 6,
He's
7?
never eaten a hot dog since then.
yeah, I bet
probably.
you
He
haven't.
got like 6 or 7. Oh, I have. I've eaten
I know,
hot dogs
I'm
since
kidding.
then. So, yeah, but so I didn't realize that now they're saying it can cause cancer, but so can bacon apparently now and all this other crap.
Oh,
It's
if-
like
I don't care if bacon causes cancer.
just as long as I don't do another hot dog eating contest, I think I'll be okay.
That's something that I
Man.
could do a contest of bacon.
Bacon eating contest?
Oh yeah.
Ugh, no swine.
Wow. That's a great story, yeah.
Yeah, I want Evan's autograph. 'cause
I'll find the
he's a
video.
legend.
Legit, yeah,
Yeah.
there's video.
I have the video somewhere.
I'll post it on the
it,
blog
man.
somewhere.
Oh God.
Okay, let's move on to our one-liner game previews for this week. Some big matchups in college football. We'll tee up the first one with JP. Number 16, Florida State. Number 1. These are the college football playoff rankings. That's Clemson. Clemson 12.5-point favorites in this game.
Blasphemy. And I dig Dabo and the Clemson Tigers, but you're going to beat Florida State by 2 scores? Nah, man, that's not going to happen.
Blasphemy.
Does Clemson win?
I feel like Clemson has a very, very good chance to be victorious in this football game, but by 2 scores, nah. You're not gonna beat a Florida State team like that. Yes, it's at Clemson, I understand, but Dabo's not the greatest coach on the planet, and he'll find a way. That Notre Dame game was close, and it shouldn't have been close.
2 points, right?
And when they won the game on defensively on the last drive, that's not to say that this is the same team, but if Dalvin Cook is even 75% healthy and he breaks a few runs, Clemson could be in trouble. So 12.5, that's a slap on the face and some extra motivation for the Noles.
All right, Evan. Number 8, TCU. 5-point favorites at number 14, Oklahoma State.
Trevon takes TCU to blowout win. I think TCU wins big at Oklahoma State.
Covering the 5 and some.
Yep.
Number 2, LSU. At number 4, Alabama. Bama 6.5-point favorites here.
All right, JP, you're going to like this one. The silverback gorilla goes down.
Wait, what?
I'm going to make the case here for Bama to slow down Fournette, okay?
So is LSU not going to slow down Derrick Henry? Or is LSU losing the game through the air?
I think Bama wins. I
How?
think Henry gets away. All right, but let me make the case about Fournette here, all right? LSU has faced 1 rushing defense in the top 50 this season. And that was Florida, who's 15. Everyone else is 59 or higher, including Eastern Michigan, the worst run defense in the country.
Okay.
Fournette averaging, I think it's almost 5 yards a carry, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Eastern Michigan gave us 6.7 yards a carry this year. Florida has held the teams to 3.4. Alabama is the 3rd best run defense in the country, averaging less than 2.7 yards per carry. I think they hold him under 100 yards.
Okay, I have a question though.
Okay.
When was in your stats?
Yes.
When can you please find the last time that Alabama had to tackle a silverback gorilla? I just want to know.
Hard to argue with that.
Okay. Elephant, silverback gorilla.
The silverback gorilla's winning. Too agile and strong. Elephant won't see it.
Okay.
It's too quick.
All right.
Wow.
I'll give you that. But anyway,
And I love
that's my
elephants.
case. That's why I'm taking
his,
Bama.
That's his call.
All right. So Ev takes Bama over LSU. Let's move on to the NFL. Only a couple of big matchups here. Brandon, you got these Green Bay 2.5-point favorites in Carolina.
Superman becomes lactose intolerant. You like the play on cheese?
Yeah, there you go.
I did it. Yeah, I think the Packers win this one.
Peyton Manning and the Broncos facing Peyton's former team, the Colts. Denver 5-point favorites in this one.
I guess Peyton's air show. I think he gets it going in the air against the Colts. I don't care. Vontae Davis doesn't scare me too much, and it's indoors. So, and if Vontae Davis takes out Demaryius Thomas, you still got Vernal. You know,
Vernal.
You mean
Virgil and
Yeah,
Vernon?
you mean Virgil?
Virgil and Vernon and
Who's the second guy?
and Emmanuel Sanders,
I know him.
Virgil Green,
Okay, I know him.
Yeah.
Vernon Davis.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm telling you, Vernon Davis is going to have a good week.
All right, first and foremost, we are all fans here in the bullpen. And let's move on to our fan final score predictions for this week. Everybody's playing this week. Let's start with college. Gentlemen, Arizona State versus Wazoo.
Oh, am I going first?
Sure.
Washington State covers. Like that game last week. Yeah, ASU got screwed by some calls, and just playing on the road in cold weather. Like I just don't. It doesn't do anything for me for ASU. I think Washington State wins 38-28.
Yep.
No, that's a good prediction. I'm gonna be the bit more optimistic one.
Reverse jinx.
I'm gonna go 35-31 ASU.
Ooh.
Coug's gonna Coug.
Number 30, it just makes me so sad every time we talk about ASU now.
San Jose State, BYU.
San Jose State, BYU.
Are we going to this game? Isn't
Minus
this the game
13 and a
Melanie's at?
half.
No. End of the month.
Okay.
Minus 13.5. Gosh, this sucks. This is just set up for us to get embarrassed. I'm going to say BYU 42, San Jose State 10.
Wow.
Oh, boy. We got to stop doing these pick segments with Dan.
No, it's true, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't throw a 13.5-point line unless, I mean, Vegas knows.
12.5 from Florida State and Clemson. If we revisit this next Thursday or
And we
Wednesday,
will.
and Florida State wins or loses by a field goal, you can be like, Vegas, you're ridiculous.
Let's move on to
All
the
right, yeah.
Trojans.
USC minus 18 versus Arizona.
Yeah,
On the road.
Yeah, they'll win the football game, but I don't know if they'll cover. That's like a trap game for SC. Looking over a terrible Arizona team.
Arizona gave up 49 points to Washington.
You're forgetting how USC plays these days. They're a little Jekyll and Hyde-ish.
So what's your final?
USC 27-17.
10-point win for the Trojans.
Wow.
All right, moving on to the NFL. We'll start with you, JP. Redskins, Patriots. The Patriots 14-point favorites in this ball game.
Hey, last time we played, it was 52-7. So I feel as though this time
It'll be closer.
it's got to be. we got
be worse.
We got to at least have it to be 52-14.
Is that what you're calling?
Let's go like 52-17.
I could use that for Brady on my fantasy team.
Actually, Tom won't throw 50. Like he's not going to throw on Breland like that. So we'll give the Patriots like a good 38-17.
All right, Falcons, 7-point favorites in Santa Clara against the 49ers. And I have to give props to Ev here, who nearly predicted the final score of last week's game. He said 27-10. The final was 27-6. So close.
2 more safeties, all I needed.
You know what you would have won?
Nothing.
Our respect.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, Falcons, Niners. What do you think of?
Your respect to me is nothing.
Clearly.
I'd go, Blaine Gabbert's going to be terrible. Falcons haven't looked good lately, but I think this is the game where they right the ship heading into their bye. I'll go 27-10 again. Atlanta.
Wow. All right, I'm going to make it even worse for JP. I'm going to say 49-3 with a Phil Dawson field goal. That's all they get. Falcons 49.
Wow.
49ers.
So are you saying this is going to be that would have to
Devontae.
be
Devontae.
does it have to be
Two touchdowns for Devontae?
and Julio has 4?
Yeah.
Sure. This team is completely destroyed.
Jacob Tammy gets 2 in this game, apparently, according to Dan.
Holy cow.
And remember, I will clarify that all of my predictions I have no knowledge of anything
Right.
whatsoever. Yeah.
None of us do.
Yeah, last one.
We're just making it up.
Last one for Brobes. Rams visiting Minnesota. The Vikings 2.5-point favorites in this.
This will be a battle of field goals, 15-12, Vikings.
And they cover.
Nice
And
little
they cover.
SEC baseball score.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anything else, guys?
I really want people to go read the Zola story. Like, I need people to read the Zola story just for the simple fact that we need to revisit this and people have to come with their own cast of characters.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
after you read it, and I'm sure people
we'll
will read it.
and next week we'll decide which actors and actresses we should play these.
Yeah,
and they've got to
man.
be like Lifetime style actresses, and not like legitimate A-listers.
Oh no, like no, they got to be real people. Like they
Well, no,
have
that's
to
what
be
I'm
real.
saying. They've got to be B-listers or C-listers that
Oh, I want them to be
like
authentic.
Tori Spelling or something.
Oh
like that.
yeah, there you go.
Like Sharknado style.
Oh, total C list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you have any suggestions for that or questions, comments, concerns about the podcast, you can email us at bullpenpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your notes,
We have
questions,
an email address now.
comments.
That's
We do.
awesome.
Man, what's up?
Send it in.
Tell a friend and tell a friend.
Send it in. That's going to do it for this edition of The Bullpen. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Another successful week, and we'll check you back next week.
Okay, bye.